Welcome, everybody, to the Latest Insight podcast. My name is Elizabeth Finocchiaro, and I'm really grateful to be here. This is the last episode of the year, and it's been so fun. It's definitely been a highlight of my year, this podcast, and hearing also messages from everyone, that they're listening to it. To be honest, I put this podcast out in the world, and it's just something I wanted to do. It's something that came through me, the name, everything. I didn't spend so much time like thinking and planning. It was more like, I want to do this. And it's so fun to hear the feedback. It's so fun to hear that people actually are looking forward to it and to listen to it, and that it's supporting them and all of these things. It really means a lot, and I love creating them. So let's take a moment to go into the breath a bit. I love to start in that way, and then we'll dive into the conversation today. So just relaxing the body a little bit deeper. And no matter what you're doing right now in this moment, you can always relax a little bit more. So just always doing this in a way that feels safe for you, for whatever you're doing. And maybe you want to tune into the belly, you want to tune into the heart. Conscious breathing. Maybe we can even go into this soft breathing. I just came from a Healing the Heart module, and so it feels natural to just almost overlap the energy into this call right now as well, of just tuning into this softness around your heart. Not breathing in a way of, now we're breathing and conscious breathing and do the breath, more just consciously aware of the softness that's there as well. Great. And as always, I want you to listen to this podcast, whether you're live or watching the recording, to listen to it in a way that feels best for you. So if laying down and just receiving it in that way feels best for you, or if there's another way that you want to be, then I just really hope that in all of my teachings, my time that I spend with you, that you really just show up in whatever way feels good for you in that moment, because that's the most important. And sometimes being, doing your own thing or laying down or closing your eyes is the best way. So that's so important for me that you feel comfortable. All right, so 1 year of latest insights. This is very exciting. And like I said, I didn't really expect things to kind of go in the way that it's going, and to hear that it is, making an impact, and I'm genuinely so excited about it every month. And I love the live option for people to join, and it's just so fun for me. And so I'm really celebrating that. This is the latest insight of the year, and I was going back at the notes, because we take notes for every single episode, and what are the takeaways, and also on YouTube we have notes that make you go easier through the subject, so you can watch this podcast on YouTube as well. And I was looking through the notes of the year, and I'm like, what have we been talking about? What have we been going through? And we've been going through a lot. I think the whole year is basically could be like a program. Like you could just listen to all 12 calls and have a lot of processes, reflection questions, conversations, support, topics. I mean, I was looking at, I just taught a module inside of Healing the Heart, which was so powerful. Talked about boundaries and standards, and it's such important work. And then I saw in June on Latest Insights, I was talking about standards. So I'm actually going to send that episode to the people in Healing the Heart, because I think it can, help plug in some things that we've been talking about. But there's a lot of value here. There's a lot of conversations. And I know from those who have been live throughout the year as well, you bringing in questions, you're bringing in your presence, and that actually does make a difference. It really changes the energy of the podcast. So I'm not just talking to thin air, I'm talking to you. It makes me feel very good. And I love that co-creational energy. So I was looking through the months and like kind of what have we been talking about? And we've been talking about a lot of different things. And I was skimming through the notes and taking out the things that kind of jumped out on me. But to be honest, there was so many things that I was like, wow, we've had a good year. We've had a good year. So if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't listened to all the episodes, like feel free to skim through the episodes a bit and maybe, you know, intuitively choose one that you haven't listened to. And I really believe that there's a lot here to support you in your journey. So there's a lot of things. I picked out some. The first thing I want to talk about today is where are you floating in your life and where are you building in your life? So I am somebody who stands for like my thing in the world, and just because it's happening in my personal life, and then it gets reflected into, okay, I can help others with this and I can talk about this and I can put words to this and I can make this easier because I'm spending a lot of time figuring it out. I'm spending a lot of time feeling into it. I'm spending a lot of time making it important. And when somebody spends a lot of time making something important, they usually have like a little guide that they can tell you about, right? Saving you time. So where are you floating? Where are you building? I am somebody that is deeply rooted in spirituality. I am totally connected to the non-physical. I love to be in the non-physical. I love to bask in it. I love to almost create, have the non-physical be as tangible as the non-physical, which is very difficult because the non-physical is like literally untangible. You cannot hold it. But in my life, I'm realizing that there's so much more that is not non-physical than physical. So for me, when I believe that in my body, and quantum physics also proves it, for me, it's like, okay, then there's, how do I honor that? Like, how do I actually live by that? Not just as a concept and then just work in my life with physicality and practicality, but how do I actually bring in that non-physical part? How do I actually honor that and live by it and lead it and really have that as a strong thing in my life? And then there is the practical, there is the physical part in this world where there are responsibilities, there's things that need to be done. And I really live with 2 feet or a foot in each. I believe my desire is to have both, and am really making moves in my life that both are feeling really good. So in the non-physical, I can feel worthiness, I can feel presence, I can feel love, and then in the physical, I can also feel the same things. So this is really what I stand for in the life, that you can be spiritual, you can be deeply connected to something that we cannot see, but you are also kind of doing very good in the physical life as well. So you're being responsible with whatever it is that you're doing, you're creating things in the world that you're proud of, and you are, happy with your life, for lack of better words. So this is the question then, where are you floating and where are you building? Where are you really in this non-physical space of feeling or experiencing, and just really in this, you're not doing, but you're experiencing, or maybe that's not the best word, but floating. And where are you building in your life? Like, where are you actually, like, with your hands, making moves and really bodily doing the things in a sense? And this is a good question to ask, because sometimes in your life I feel there's a time to be more floating, and because there's like things that you need to do in that world. Like there's information that you need to get, and there's certain past emotions or there's codes. I don't really like to say that word in this context, but there's like, it is like that though. It is like there's codes that we get from the non-physical. And some people, maybe we spend a bit too much time there and we kind of forget to get back to the physical and build something with those codes. Like, what are you doing with your spiritual gifts? Because that's when the two come together so beautifully. And I think many of us are longing for that. We're longing for a wholeness within ourselves where we can use our spiritual gifts and we can use our sensitivity and we can use our magic and kind of things that we, get excited about, and we can actually apply it and use it in our physical life. So it's important to check in, like, where in your life are you maybe floating a little bit too much and not bringing things down to earth? And where are you like really just doing, and you're not allowing things to be up in the air a bit? Because I think it's important to air things out, to stop what you're doing and really see, how am I feeling about this? What am I imagining here? What am I creating here? What is the energetics behind this? Because there's always an energetic code behind everything that you do. And the energetic code is the floating energy, because it's not tangible. It's floating all around you and within you, but it's nothing that you can necessarily build with, because it's a feeling. It's an energy. So, and this can be a bit slippery, like all things human. We can say, no, I am, okay, wait, something's coming a bit, and then it kind of left. The energetics. It takes a level of awareness and practice to be able to really be honest with the energetics of your life. You can think that everything is good and everything is okay and everything is aligned, when really it's like, what does it take to get to that point? I don't know, actually. It can be different for all of us to get to this point of realizing that, it is the way that I'm feeling about this thing. It's the energy that's floating around this thing. It's not the thing that's the problem necessarily. The things floating around it are not contributing to it, or not, in alignment with the. I feel like I'm not nailing this right now, but at the same time, I feel like I am nailing it. Very interesting experience of being like, I know what's coming out is good, but at the same time, can it be more clear? But I think it's because maybe this is the first time I'm saying this, and usually when I say things for the first time, it takes me a second to kind of nail the lesson. I can get practical, give an example. You're saying that you want something in your life, and you're annoyed because you don't have it, and you're looking at the thing and you're just like, well, you're not it. It's not it. Well, this is not what I want. And we can get annoyed at what we're building or what's in front of us. But when we connect to the energetics of the situation, is it supporting it or not? And you can think, yeah, it's supporting it. It is. But that's also the shadow protecting it to not support it. Okay. I see I have to work on this teaching a little bit. Our shadow is a slippery thing that will actually convince you that it's like, in a way, it will convince you that you're doing a great job when maybe you're not actually completely doing what you want to be doing. So it's this energy of, you think you're all on track, but then you're still annoyed that you don't have the thing that you're building. But when you really look into it, you realize, oh, I'm actually a bit off with this energy. I'm actually resisting this energy. I'm actually not fully feeling free. I'm not fully feeling open. There is some sort of resistance. There is some sort of, I'm closing here. But then you want openness and you want this great experience. And you're like, yeah, but I want that. Why aren't I getting it? But then the energetic field that is hard, it's this is what I'm trying to say. I think your energetic field can be very difficult to get complete clarity contact with because it will be shielded by your shadow. Okay, we're going deep like really quickly. I think we got to the point here. Something is here because because the floating part in your life, the non-physical part in your life is really big, right? It's the spaciousness, the non-physical is very, very big. How you feel about something is much more important than how you do something. You can be really good at something, but you could be so not fulfilled. And what type of life is that? So you could be really good at doing meditation, for example, like you're really good at the breath holds and you're really good at the pranayama things, but you're still super unregulated in your life because there's a lack of connection. And but you think that you're doing really good. You're like, but I can do the breath holds. I'm doing them really good. And she's like, yeah, but how are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you connected? Are you regulated? Are you still getting super triggered when things happen in your life? Are you, like you can be good at so many things. The physical can look so good, but are you really happy? Are you really feeling it? Are you really there? And this is the illusion of the physicality world that is so slippery because things can look really good. It's like social media, things can look really great, but then behind the person might not be good. But there is a lot of people on social media that are showing great things and they actually are happy people. So I don't believe that, for example, social media is just all lies because I think that there's very happy people with very beautiful lives. I totally believe that that's possible. And I believe that for myself as well, that there is, of course, there's no, I'm not preaching perfection, but there's beauty is possible, happiness is possible. Like it's totally possible. So your energetic relationship to your life can be sometimes hard to look at because you are so in it. It's like you almost need a mirror to look at it because you're in it. You're in the energetic experience at all times. You can look at something physical and be like, is this real? Is this really what's going on? Maybe you get some body language or some proof or something like that. But energetic, it's a bit more, you have to be sensitive. You have to really be honest. You have to be able to relax the pride, the defensiveness, the wanting to protect the ego and the shadow. And if you don't practice this, it's nothing that you necessarily like get if you haven't been told this at a young age. If anything, identities are really here to protect the shadow and not, evolve and liberate and be free and these things. So the energetic field is something that we're always inside of. So how do you really check into like, how am I really feeling about this situation? And you can sometimes get like, okay, I understand that I'm like going, so I didn't expect myself to go where we are right now, but I'm loving it. And I hope this is supporting you. I didn't think we would go like, I knew I would talk about like floating and building and the practical and the non-practical, the physical, but I didn't know we'd go like around this corner, but I'm happy we're here. So the energetic field of how you're, participating and how you're feeling about things mostly has to do with feelings. We get in touch with our energetic field through feelings. And most of us, when the emotion gets high enough, then we get in touch with the non-physical. We get in touch with a feeling of like, I like this, I don't like this, this is scary, this is fun, this is this. And now you can tell how you are with this situation. So if you have, if you're working on a project and suddenly you're feeling super excited about it because, one part of the project just revealed itself and you're just like, oh, this is very exciting. So now you kind of know where you are energetically with the project. But for many people, it takes a height of emotion to be able to tune into the energetic field. It takes a sort of awareness, a heightened state to be like, oh, now I'm aware of the energetic field. Where the energetic field is always there. There's always a floating energy around everything that we do, everything that we build, everything that we have has an energetic field around it that we relate to. So why is this important? Why am I even talking about this? It's because somehow in this world, I think we become good at lying to ourselves in a way of we become good at protecting ourselves in the expense of really connecting to how we feel about something. And being able to have the emotional, yeah, it's incredible in alignment with the journey right now. I'm just happy to hear that. So we're protecting and potentially lying, but we're not doing this on conscious per se. How we feel, like I said before, how you feel about something is the most important foundation. Because, like I said, you could be really good at something, but you could feel really bad. So you could be good, but feel bad. And that's not really a life that you want, right? Like you can have everything you want. That's like a typical story of someone getting everything that they thought they wanted. They get everything they wanted, but they're not happy. That's a typical story. It's like in the movies as well, right? Like The Notebook and all these romantic movies, like she marries the man with money and she has the perfect life and the car and the house and everything, but she's not happy. And then she always goes back to the farmer that has nothing and they build the life of their dreams. Like it's a story that's in so many movies. They get the big job in the big city and they're the big CEO and they finally did the career, but they're not happy. And they have to go to some, self awareness process of going to, I don't know, India or going to Italy or somewhere in the countryside, and they talk to an old man and then suddenly they're back into their heart because they meet somehow simplicity. They meet as something that fuels their being. It fuels their feeling of purpose and of connection in life. So we all know that you could have everything that you think you want and you can still not be happy. So that's why the energetics is so important. If you're happy with what you already have, I mean, you win, you won. The game's over. There's no game. You're good. You're here. You have it. But the energetics is like, I want more. It's not good enough. They have that. They have this. There's slippery, like little thoughts that come in. So, very important how you feel about certain things. And it can be hard to really be honest about it because there's so many coping mechanisms, so much defense mechanisms that are telling you, no, it's fine, everything's good, or this is normal. How you feel about this thing is normal. Where if you want something above average, you're going to have to feel kind of in alignment to that. You can't just feel like, oh, everything's fine, but you want a life that's like, woohoo, and you're like, it's different energies. The energetic field is different there and there. It's not good or bad. It's not high or low. It's just different. I'm going to leave this conversation and move on because I realize I'm starting to go a bit deep into like only going to talk about this conversation. And I do want to talk about a couple of different things. So I hope this supported you. And I hope this maybe some of you might have been like, what the heck did she just talk about for 20 minutes? That's okay. I'm fine with that. And some of you are like, that was good. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you for, being able to maybe completely lose all sense of track of words by going there. So you're welcome. If that supported you. I'm trying to align my world of happiness with my world of reality. I'm happy when I cook. I mean, I'm really happy. And here I am in the office in front of a computer. Love the talk. Made so much sense. Okay, I'm very grateful that it resonated with you. And yeah, so trying to align my world of happiness with my world of reality. That's such a great way of writing it, like the energetic to the reality. And So what you can do, and then you say like, well, here I am in front of the computer. So there's like a little bit of like disappointment, maybe even shaming yourself of being like, I can't believe I'm here doing this. So what you want to do is reframe that into being like, one day, do you believe that your reality and your energetic world are going to match? If you believe one day that's going to happen, then you're on the path. So I used to have this post-it on my laptop that said, this is where I'm going. It was a goal of mine. And then it said, but this is where I am. And there was no shame of where I am. I'm like, but that's where I'm going, and this is where I am. So try not to shame, or, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be like, it's giving feedback. It's totally fine. All those feelings are fine. I'm on the path, exactly. And just celebrating the path. We're walking. We're walking little by little. We're walking. So it's something actually to celebrate. But I know that that can feel a little bit, maybe not, it feels like not intuitive to do that, but in my world, it's actually something to celebrate. Thanks for sharing. All right. So what else came up this year? I was going through the notes, and let's see what else came up. So another one is, I talk about time. We are walking. Yep, we're walking together. Walking together. So I talk a bit about time when it comes to like transformation, and how time is it's an illusion in many ways. It's practical, but in the world of energy, time doesn't really exist. Again, it's important. I'm a person that is on time. So it's not that I don't believe in time. I'm a very on time person, and I use time. But when it comes to healing and transformation, I've tried to take it out. And then what do we put back into it? And practice is one word that comes up very clear: courage and care. So your healing won't necessarily take so and so amount of time. You have no idea how much time your healing is going to take, your transformation is going to take. You have no idea how long your goal is going to take. How can you foresee these things? I mean, unless you're very clairvoyant and have a track record of like, it's going to be in 2 months, or it's very, I don't know anyone like that, but there probably is people like that in the world, because, this world is magical and incredible, and people are amazing. But for me, it's about, I don't know when things are going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to reach certain goals. I don't know when I'm going to reach certain places in my body, like in experience. I don't know when I'm going to be a certain place. So what do I know? I know that the more I practice, the more confident I get, the more prepared I get. I know the more courageous I am, the more things actually happen, because I'm just like in it. I'm courageous. I do it. I learn. I grow. So I know that that's important. And I know the more I care, the more like easy the path is, because I actually am taking care of my heart. I'm taking care of other people. I'm caring about my process. I'm caring about my path. So I'm not being destructive. I'm not being sabotagey. I'm not doing these things anymore, because there is a feeling of care. So when these things overflow, so when the practice overflows, when the courage overflows, when the care overflows, something is going to happen. And it's not really up to me to like decide when things happen, because for me, time is not about, it's not linear. It's more of a, when it's ready, it'll happen. When it's ready, it'll happen. When it's ready, it will happen. So I just have to get ready. I talk about this all the time. Like inside the ripple effect, I'm talking about this. I talk about this all the time. I've talked about it on the podcast before as well. So yeah, where can you practice more? If there's something that you're going for in your life and something that you want more in your life, how can you prepare more for it? How can you practice more? How can you be a little bit more courageous? How can you care a little bit more? Because I think the mixture between these three things is much more better to use your time and energy towards than when is it going to happen, and waiting and wondering and worrying and it should have been here by now. And instead of being like, how can I prepare this? How can I care about this? And how can I make a courageous step towards this? Like, how can I get into my heart and maybe do the uncomfortable thing? Inside the ripple effect, somebody made a comment, and I responded by saying it gets easy when it's ready, but to get ready is not always easy. So when it's ready, it's very easy. And I've known this, it's happened so much in my life. When something is ready, it just happens. It's just there. Like, hello, I'm ready. And you just have to hold it and, it's there. But to get to that point is not always easy. It's like baking bread. Like you can't just wait and expect the bread to be ready. Like you have to prepare the dough, and you have to wait for it to rise, and you have to make sure you didn't burn the yeast, and you need to do the right amount of yeast, and you need to have the right temperature and the right amount of time. And like it's not always easy to make the bread, but once the bread's ready, it's ready. So that's kind of how I see things in life. That like you gotta practice making the bread. And if you're not practicing in your life and you're complaining that is not ready, there's again an energetic misalignment happening there, that your shadow is protecting you from failure probably, or mistakes. You probably don't handle mistakes that well. So every time you make a mistake, you're really hard on yourself. So then you don't put yourself in positions to make mistakes. Because if you fail, you're going to be really hard on yourself. So you're protecting yourself against yourself or against others. When you make a mistake, you get judged, you get ridiculed, maybe that happened when you were younger. So you think that if you make a mistake, you're going to, someone's going to do something to you. So there's things to work through in practice, in deep practice. And it's not just one practice that's going to get you there. Like it's not one, like, doing breath work and doing this thing and then suddenly everything's fine. It's like multiple years of practicing. And like years is not, that's time again. But it's basically just showing up over and over and over again in some sort of practice that works for you. And it's usually a combination of spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. So, moving on. Next thing. I hope that supported you a little bit to think, where can I practice more to prepare? I have an incredible masterclass called Prepared Presence, and I really loved the concept that came through here, because for me, it's not about over preparing for life and having to, be the best and figure everything out and have every word for word, for example, in a talk or a master class or a teaching, to have everything to the second planned out. But if you don't have any plan and you don't have any structure, you're also, I think that this is where I talk about it quite deeply in this masterclass. I actually want to revisit it because the energy is very alive right now in the collective field for me and what I'm picking up on. Because you don't need to have structure. Can look very different for all of us. Your energy is a structure and a schedule is a structure. So structure is something that can be also very energetic. Your energy and how you want to do things is a structure. Your feeling is a structure, and a schedule is a structure. A protocol is a structure. There's just, a recipe is a structure. There's so many structures in this world and in our lives. Do we need some sort of structure? I think so. And if you want to really break it down, your body is a structure for your spirit. So there is some sort of structure in your life. Do you need to plan out every single thing and have structures for completely everything? No, because then I think you start to go more into the controlling part where you have to control every single thing. Do you want to find a middle ground? I think is a good idea. Just we're all different. We all have different personalities. But prepared presence is this idea that you've cared enough to create some sort of structure, but you're present enough to know what to do in that structure or when the structure needs to change. And I think this is very important. And as a teacher, as a facilitator, this is very important for me, that I come to the classes prepared So I obviously have a structure because I have promised something and I'm going to deliver whatever it is. And at the same time, I know that the presence is so important. So it can change, it can shift, I know that the presence is such a big part of this life. So this is something that balance, if you can find that beautiful balance in your life of being prepared, like really practicing like and then also being very present. And that's also in a practice of your presence. The power of your personal presence is very important practice to get in touch with your power, the power of your personal presence, and then the power of your skills and your experience. So as a facilitator, I come with experience, come with 10 years of experience of teaching, and I come with my own practice of feeling the presence. So that masterclass is amazing. If you want to check it out, we'll put it in the show notes for you guys. I'm pretty sure it's in Breathe Live right now. I'm not sure if it's archived, but it could be one of the masterclasses inside Breathe Live. Could you check that out, Gabrielle, while we're on this call, just so I can kind of confirm that? I don't know if it's in this one, but I think it is. I think it is. It's a very good one. Beautiful energy. Beautiful energy. So I hope this is supporting landing for you. We're going to change gears a little bit. I'm just going through my little list and seeing like, what else do I want to talk about? I can talk about another thing that came up. The sentence came in the notes, if we force something, there can be a disconnect. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I am a teacher of ease. So there's always this energy of how can something be easier? How can something be, not pushing, not forcing? How can we just get ready? And then how can we prepare and then the thing be ready? Okay, it's not in Breathe Live. So it was earlier in the year then. Okay, so it's not inside Breathe Live. And so the ease principle is so big in my world, especially now. It's just like went to like a new freaking standard in my life after hosting the retreat and like really being given this word ease in my world and in a whole new way. But how do you know when to push yourself a little bit, or if you're kind of being lazy, for lack of better words, right? Like if you're waiting, like you're not going to force things. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to force anything. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to, get it. And how do you know if you're kind of just being lazy or if you should push yourself? Because there's many teachers in the world kind of teaching a little bit opposite of what I do. They're like, push yourself, show up, be accountable, do it, do the thing anyway, go through the fear, go through the emotion and just do it anyway. And I am not disrespecting that teaching at all because I think, we're all different and you're going to have to come into this in different ways. We all want to go to the same place. We all want to be fulfilled. We all want to find our way. And there's many thousands of different ways, millions of ways that we can, live this life. So for me, it's like, how do I know when to push myself or if I'm being lazy? Like, how do I know if I should just like break through something a bit or if, it's actually time to take a chill and not do anything? How do I know if I'm just bullshitting myself, basically? And that is the question I ask myself. I ask myself, am I bullshitting myself in this moment? And I think through practice, you can kind of feel when you're doing that. And so if there's something that I want to do, and I told myself I'm going to do it, and it felt really aligned in the moment that I said I was going to do it, like there's reasons why I'm like, well, it's going to be good for me, or it's going to be good for this, or it's going to be good for this person, or like I promise to do this thing. And then the moment comes and I'm just like, I don't feel like doing it. In that moment, I really need to check in to be like, okay, is this a readjustment because there's actually another truth here? Or am I being avoidant because it's kind of uncomfortable? And this is the question I think that we all need to ask ourselves, because we live, the shadow is all around. Each and every one of us have some sort of sabotage part of us that don't want us to expand and to do the things we know are good for us. So it's really about being able to feel into this bullshit energy, I call it, in yourself. And what you can do is you can try. So you can try both. This is what I've done for many years. So if I started to sabotage something, I would say, let me just do it anyway. So, simple example, before when I used to live stream on social media, I would say, I'm going to go live on Thursday at this time. And at the time, it felt like a really good idea. I had something to share. I had a program to sell. I had something to say. And it felt like, makes sense, go live, of course. Put it in my calendar. Then Thursday comes. And I'm like, I don't want to go live. I want to do something else. And it's usually the sofa. I was talking about this inside of Healing the Heart as well. It's usually the sofa. If the sofa is the option, I usually check in with myself. So I checked in and I said, let me do the live anyway. So I really didn't feel like doing it. And I did it. This was years ago when I was practicing this. And I still do it today, but this has actually happened. And after the live stream, I felt great. I was like, wow, I can't believe I wasn't going to do this. So then I could tell that I needed that little push. I needed that little, I'm going to do it. Where other times I pushed myself and afterwards I felt really drained. And I felt like, wow, that didn't really go that well. Maybe that would have been better to reevaluate and actually go on the sofa, relax a little bit, and, try again tomorrow. So it's really about getting clear in how you operate. And again, practice courage, care, like take care of yourself. If you're constantly pushing and forcing yourself towards your goals, you will get there. You'll get there in so many different ways. So you have to decide, how do you want to get to your goals? Because for me, I want to get there with more ease. I don't want to push and stress and burn out to my goals. I want to get them with ease. And in order for me to get them with ease, I actually have to act accordingly. I have to take care. I have to tune in. But I also need to do the things as well. And I need to, kick myself in the butt sometimes if I'm being too easy on myself, in the sense of bullshitting myself, taking the easy way out. So that is something that came up earlier about force. I really hope that you're not forcing yourself to do things in this world, but I do hope that you're giving yourself, real pushes to get out there and to grow and to get out of your comfort zone and to try something new and be able to make mistakes. I mean, there's just so many things at play here. There's so many things at play. Oh, I'm just feeling like Healing the Heart is such an amazing program because we talk about the self-belief and we talk about the difference between self-worth and self-belief and how important it is to know the difference between these two things and how that's going to help you navigate life and mistakes and learning and growing and all of these things. So it's just such an incredible program. People have been asking me when the next round is going to be, and it is in May 25. So just have that in the back of your head, because I know I've had like 3 or 4 people ask. So it's going to be in May in 25. It is open for men and women. So I've had a lot of men go through Healing the Heart, or a lot, but it's I've had some men go through Healing the Heart, and it's such a beautiful program for emotional intelligence and conversations on, worthiness and, like I said, self-belief, validation, standards, boundaries, all of these things in navigating this life. Because you can want a lot of things in your life and it feels great, and then the shadow is just like, nope. No, you're not. And we all have this. We all have this part of us. Everybody that goes for something in their life has to face a shadow, and some have it much stronger than others. But we all have it. So if you are live right now and you want to ask a question, I would love to open up for a little bit of question before we end the call. I want to also just say thank you so much for this year of latest insights and everyone that's been listening and supporting and sharing. It means the world to me. And I'm just so grateful to to be in service in this way. And if there's one thing that I said today that, you took in your heart or in your mind or in your spirit or in your body, then my work is done and it's enough. It's more than enough. It's always more than enough. One little thing has the possibility to create ripples in your life. And I'm not here to have all the answers for you. Definitely not. And I'm not here to be the person that has all the things and, that my breathwork sessions are gonna da da da. It's like I'm just a place where you can be and we can have conversations, and so much in my space I open up for interaction and conversations with you guys, and I want to hear, I want to support, I want to share and tell stories, and just know that you're not alone in this process of transformation and whatever it is you're going through. So I'll take a little moment if there's a question you want to ask or anything that wants to be said for those who are live. And you know where to find all information about my Breathe Live membership. It's definitely the place to be if you want to get, ongoing access to my breathwork sessions, to the master classes, my meditations. You also get the Ripple Effect, my Telegram group, as a bonus, and you get the lessons of the breath as a bonus as well. So if you're feeling like you just want to enter my world, Breathe Live is definitely the place. You can come for 1 month. You can stay as long as you want. It's an ongoing membership, and with the live sessions. And I do have exciting things coming up next year. I'm not ready to announce it yet, but stay tuned. Definitely will be announced by the next Latest Insight podcast. So that's very exciting. 2 or 3 things are in the works right now behind the scenes, and one thing feels very they all feel amazing, to be honest. So excited about that. When I decided to confront the shadow, I kind of fell into it, believed it too much. Yeah, exactly. The shadow needs you to feed it. Like the shadow needs you to be it to stay alive. And so this is exactly what happens. It just becomes a cloak that comes over us, and then it governs what we do and say and do. And, it's the one that puts us on the sofa and stays there when you're actually don't need to rest. There's nothing wrong with being on the sofa, but when you're on the sofa too much, then so the boundary work is very important here. When you notice the shadow coming in, this is the work we do inside Healing the Heart, where it's just like, no, it's not happening, not today. And this is where you can also, there's a feminine masculine approach to this. Like I was talking about, you can either push yourself a little bit. That's the masculine approach of just get it done. So whatever it is that confronts you with the shadow, do it. See how that feels. And then the feminine side of this is you don't do it, but you be very present with the body. So you either sit down or you lay down and you're like, wow, I'm experiencing my shadow literally wanting to take over right now. Where is it in my body? What's going on? And you kind of process it. You feel it. That's kind of the feminine side of working with the shadow. The masculine side is like, no, not today. And I use both all the time. Or all the time. I think being a more feminine person, I actually use the feminine part more. I do more energy work with myself. So if I'm feeling the shadow come in, I will breathe into my heart. I will breathe into my body. I will relax underneath, like all these principles that I teach in the breathwork trainings and the ease retreat, like this type of work of relaxing underneath of things, the ease principle. I do those things in the moment when the shadow comes in. But there are times that I do use the masculine approach where I'm just like, get it done. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's just how I decide to live my life. And it works really well. And the shadow is getting smaller and smaller because I don't feed into it as much. But of course, I have a shadow. Of course, it comes in. Of course, it wants to ruin my life. Of course, it wants a piece of the cake or whatever. Yeah, so much to say to that. But you are not alone at all. If you're feeling like you've fallen into the shadow, you're not alone at all. It's so slippery. It's so kind of tying back to what we started this conversation with. Sometimes it's hard to see it when you become it, because then you are it. And then you need a mirror, and you need the ability to take it off and really see who you are without this. And so it's a practice. Like I said, it's very, very much a practice. Tuning into the heart, staying true to your word. stay true, tuning into the heart, staying true to your word. Those two things are really going to help you not fall into the shadow. Great. All right. 2024 latest insights is complete. I'm really excited about next year. Everything's staying the same as of now that I know. I'm not changing anything. So there's monthly calls that you can join live. The link is in the description as well. So it's completely free. You just sign up and then you'll get the link an hour before we go live. You join the live call. You can interact in the chat, and it's such a fun time to be with you all. And then you can listen on Spotify and YouTube to the replays. So again, I just hope these episodes support you. Please take connection, take contact if you want to share something that came through, if you want to share the podcast with your friends, if you want to leave a rating. All of these things support more people seeing it. And I think that's it, really. If you want to contact with me with any information about my programs, courses, membership, you know where to find me. So I will leave that there. Thank you so much for being here, and have a beautiful holiday if you celebrate, and a transition to the Gregorian New Year, the calendar New Year, and take really good care of your heart, your spirit, your body, your soul, your emotions, your mind. Just take care. Take care. Okay. See you soon. Bye, everyone.